A pale horse draws near once more, but this time it's bringing the truth about the stars of 1985. Clint Eastwood led a cast of powerhouses, yet the decades have been unkind to some. Witness the staggering physical changes and the emotional stories behind the scenes. Grab your tissues because this then and now look at the Pale Rider cast is a wild, tear-jerking ride. Clint Eastwood as Preacher. Born on May 31st, 1930 in San Francisco, California, the iconic actor first donned the clerical collar of the enigmatic preacher in the 1985 Western Pale Rider. At the age of 55, Eastwood's portrayal of the mysterious supernatural stranger who defends a humble mining camp from a greedy conglomerate became a massive hit. The character revitalized the Western genre for a new decade and solidified Eastwood's cultural impact as the ultimate stoic frontier savior, elevating Pale Rider to become the highest-grossing Western of the 1980s. Despite the character's ruthless brand of frontier justice and intimidating silent demeanor, Clint Eastwood's real-life personality offers a stark contrast. Away from the camera, he is a soft-spoken jazz aficionado, an accomplished pianist, and a notoriously calm and quiet director who never yells action on set. While he became an enduring American cinematic icon, his career was marked by early professional hardships. Initially, he experienced profound difficulty finding work, famously being dropped from his contract at Universal Studios because executives thought his Adam's apple stuck out too far and he spoke too slowly. Even after achieving box office stardom, he spent years fighting against the typecasting of being merely a violent macho action star, battling critical dismissal as he worked tirelessly to be taken seriously as a dramatic filmmaker and auteur. Eastwood eventually conquered Hollywood as an Academy Award-winning director and producer with masterpieces like Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby. Outside of film, he has navigated a complex personal life with numerous children and relationships, and even ventured into politics, serving a term as the mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California. At 95, he stands as one of the last living legends of Hollywood's golden age and the classical Western era. Remaining remarkably active in the twilight of his life, he has continued to direct and produce feature films well into his 90s, cementing an unparalleled decades-long legacy in the history of cinema. Penn as Josh LaHood. Born on October 10, 1965 in Los Angeles, California, the talented actor brought a raw, volatile energy to the Western genre in Clint Eastwood's acclaimed film, Pale Rider. At the age of 19, Penn's portrayal of Josh LaHood, the arrogant, entitled, and bullying son of a ruthless mining baron, showcased his impressive ability to play a deeply unsympathetic antagonist. His performance added a visceral layer of tension to the narrative, proving he could hold his own alongside Hollywood veterans and contributing significantly to the movie's enduring status as one of the defining westerns of the 1980s. Despite frequently playing menacing bullies, mobsters, and hardened criminals on screen, Penn was famously known off-camera as a warm-hearted, humorous, and deeply loyal friend with a lifelong passion for martial arts, even earning a black belt in karate. This stark contrast between his gentle real-life demeanor and his aggressive on-screen personas highlighted his immense acting range, though it also contributed to the professional struggles he faced throughout his career. Penn battled severe typecasting, frequently finding himself pigeonholed into heavy or tough guy roles due to his imposing physical stature. Furthermore, he faced the immense personal and professional challenge of navigating Hollywood while living in the shadow of his Oscar-winning older brother Sean Penn, alongside well-documented battles with weight fluctuations and substance abuse. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Penn continued to deliver memorable scene-stealing performances in beloved films like Reservoir Dogs, True Romance, and Rush Hour, but his physical health began to steadily decline. He passed away in his Santa Monica condominium on January 24, 2006, at the age of 40. The official cause of death was ruled as nonspecific cardiomyopathy heart disease compounded by the effects of multiple prescription medications. His sudden and tragic death deeply affected his family and the film community, with his brother Sean later publicly reflecting on how Chris's weight and lifestyle had severely taxed his health, bringing a heartbreakingly premature end to the life of a universally respected character actor. Richard Kiel as Club. Born on September 13, 1939 in Detroit, Michigan, Richard Kiel stepped into the rugged western landscape of Pale Rider in 1985. At the age of 45, Kiel's portrayal of the massive, intimidating henchman club provided one of the film's most memorable moments. As the hulking enforcer for a corrupt mining baron club, initially appears as an unstoppable physical force, but after a famous wince-inducing confrontation with Clint Eastwood's Preacher, the giant reveals a more honorable side. Kiel's performance added an unforgettable mix of looming physical menace and surprising comic relief to the highly successful film, cementing his status as one of cinema's most towering and iconic character actors. Despite his consistent on-screen presence as terrifying villains, silent monsters, or brutal henchmen, Richard Kiel was described by friends and co-stars as a gentle, soft-spoken, and highly intelligent family man. This stark contrast between his intimidating 7'2" stature and his warm, real-life personality defined much of his career. Kiel's unique appearance was the result of acromegaly, a hormonal condition that not only dictated his physical size, but also heavily typecast him, making it difficult for him to secure nuanced speaking roles that showcased his actual acting depth. Furthermore, his tremendous size brought significant physical hardships, which were severely compounded by a devastating 1992 car accident that left him with permanent balance issues and forced him to rely on a cane or a motorized scooter for the rest of his life. In his later years, Kiel gracefully pivoted to other passions, co-authoring a historical novel titled Kentucky Lion and writing his autobiography, Making It Big in the Movies. He continued making appearances at fan conventions where he relished interacting with those who loved his work and provided the voice for the deadly but soft-hearted thug Vlad in Disney's 2010 animated hit Tangled. Kiel remained devoted to his wife Diane, whom he married in 1974, and their 4 children. Richard Kiel passed away at a hospital in Fresno, California on September 10th, 2014, at the age of 74, just 3 days shy of his 75th birthday. His death was caused by a massive heart attack, which occurred shortly after he had been admitted to the hospital to treat a broken leg, bringing a sudden end to the life of Hollywood's most beloved gentle giant. Billy Drago as Deputy Mather. Born William Eugene Burroughs, Jr. on November 30th, 1945. The Hugoton, Kansas native began his career in radio and as a stuntman before moving to New York City to pursue acting. At the age of 39, Drago's portrayal of the corrupt and menacing Deputy Mather in Clint Eastwood's 1985 hit Pale Rider became a pivotal moment in his career. The film resonated massively with audiences, becoming the highest-grossing Western of the decade, and Drago's striking reptilian features and quiet intensity made a lasting cultural impact. His chilling performance as one of Marshal Stockburn's ruthless deputies established his cinematic identity, cementing him as one of Hollywood's most reliable and memorable on-screen villains. Despite building a prolific career embodying cold-blooded murderers, otherworldly demons, and ruthless gangsters, Billy Drago's real-life personality was a stark contrast to his terrifying characters. Described by friends and co-stars as an incredibly warm-hearted adventurer, a kind storyteller, and a devoted family man, he was the polar opposite of the sadists he played on screen. However, his highly distinct and sinister look led to intense, inescapable typecasting. While he embraced the villainous niche, this typecasting meant he was almost never considered for heroic or leading roles. As mainstream theatrical roles occasionally dried up, he faced the professional hardship of having to navigate the lower-budget B-movie and direct-to-video circuit to find consistent work. Even his iconic stage name was born of professional necessity. He took his grandmother's maiden name early in his career to avoid being confused with another working actor. Billy Drago continued to work extensively in television and film, gaining massive cult followings for his roles as Al Capone's enforcer, Frank Nitti in The Untouchables, the demon Barbas in Charmed, and outlaw John Bly in The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. He enjoyed a quiet and private personal life, remaining married to actress Silvana Gallardo for over 3 decades until her passing in 2012. Drago passed away in Los Angeles, California on June 24, 2019, at the age of 73 from complications related to a stroke. His death prompted widespread mourning from fans and Hollywood peers alike, with former co-stars sharing touching tributes that honored him not just for his legendary contributions to cinema, but for his gentle, adventurous spirit. He was survived by his sister-brother, several grandchildren, and his 2 sons, including actor Darren E. Burroughs. Sidney Penny as Megan Wheeler. Born on August 7, 1971 in Nashville, Tennessee, the young actress made her big screen debut in Clint Eastwood's 1985 Western classic, Pale Rider. At the age of 13, Penny's portrayal of the earnest, faithful girl who prays for a miracle and brings the preacher to her embattled mining camp became a major breakthrough. Megan Wheeler stood as a beacon of pioneer innocence and hope amidst a gritty, violent landscape, leaving a lasting cultural impact on the Western genre. The performance resonated deeply with audiences and critics alike, earning Penny a Young Artist Award and solidifying her status as a highly capable and prominent young star in 1980s Hollywood. Despite the naive, sheltered, and simplistic nature of her pioneer character, Sidney Penny was a highly disciplined, multi-talented industry veteran in real life. Growing up in a musical family, she had already spent years performing on stage, studying ballet, and doing commercials, giving her a grounded professional maturity that starkly contrasted with Megan's starry-eyed innocence. However, as she grew older, Penny faced the notorious professional hardships of transitioning from a child star to an adult actress, often struggling against the industry's tendency to typecast her. She eventually found a steady home in daytime soap operas, but this brought a new set of career obstacles. She had to navigate the volatile nature of daytime television, enduring the painful cancellation of Santa Barbara, being demoted to recurring status when her character on The Bold and the Beautiful failed to catch on, and suffering the abrupt killing off of her most famous television character, Julia Santos, on All My Children in 2008, all of which forced her to continually reinvent herself to find steady work. In her later years, Sidney Penny continued to work in independent films and television guest spots while heavily investing in life outside of Hollywood. She relocated to Wilmington, North Carolina, where she embraced entrepreneurship and local arts, running a boutique bistro named Jester's Cafe, and launching her own production company to champion untold stories from the American South. Her personal life, though largely kept out of the tabloids, saw heartbreak when her husband of nearly 3 decades, producer Robert Powers, passed away on December 31, 2024. At 54, Penny remains in Wilmington, continuing her life as a devoted mother to their son. She endures as a respected figure in the entertainment industry, balancing her legacy as an iconic child star with her ongoing work as an independent producer and mentor to a new generation of actors. Michael Moriarty as Hull Barrett. Born on April 5, 1941 in Detroit, Michigan, the acclaimed stage and screen actor first brought the steadfast tin pan miner to life during the production of Clint Eastwood's 1985 Western classic, Pale Rider. At the age of 43, Moriarty's portrayal of Hull Barrett became a critical emotional anchor for the film, offering a grounded depiction of a humble man finding the courage to stand up to a ruthless mining conglomerate. His earnest performance resonated deeply with audiences, highlighting the film's enduring themes of perseverance, community resilience, and quiet bravery against overwhelming odds, solidifying his role as a vital component of the movie's massive cultural success. Despite the character's humble, resolute, and grounded nature, Michael Moriarty was an intensely complex, outspoken individual often described as having a far more eccentric and unpredictable personality than the even-keeled Hull Barrett. This contrast was a significant part of his personal journey. While he mastered playing steadfast everyday men on screen, his off-screen life was fueled by fierce political beliefs and public controversies. His career was also marked by severe professional hardships, most notably during his acclaimed stint as Executive Assistant District Attorney Ben Stone on Law and Order. In 1994, Moriarty abruptly quit the hit series following a bitter, highly publicized dispute with U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno and network executives over television violence and censorship. This fallout brought a profound professional sting. His outspoken defiance led to a period of professional isolation and marginalization, making it incredibly difficult for him to find steady work in mainstream Hollywood in the years that followed. Following the fallout from his mainstream television career, Michael Moriarty left the United States and moved to Canada, declaring himself a political exile. Throughout his life, he navigated a turbulent personal journey, marrying 4 times and having 1 son. In Canada, he eventually settled and became a citizen, continuing to take on roles in independent films and television movies, such as his Emmy-nominated performance in 2001's James Dean, while also heavily pursuing his passions as a jazz pianist, classical composer, and political writer. At 84, he is largely retired from the entertainment industry and lives a quiet, private life away from the limelight in British Columbia. Though his career took an unconventional path driven by intense personal conviction, his legacy as a brilliant and uncompromising actor remains firmly intact. Richard Dysart as Coy LaHood. Born on March 30, 1929, near Boston, Massachusetts, the veteran actor first brought the ruthless mining baron Coy LaHood to life in Clint Eastwood's 1985 Western Pale Rider. At the age of 56, Dysart's portrayal of the greedy, environment-destroying capitalist antagonist became a defining element of the film's success. His character perfectly embodied the encroaching industrial corruption of the Old West, providing a formidable cold-blooded foil to Eastwood's mystical preacher and leaving a lasting cultural impact on the Western genre's depiction of corporate greed. Despite playing such a callous and exploitative villain, Richard Dysart was known in real life as a warm, gentle, and highly educated man who held a master's degree in speech communication and had served in the Air Force, standing as the polar opposite of Coy LaHood. This sharp contrast between his true benevolent personality and his on-screen persona highlighted his immense acting range, though it also came with professional hurdles. Throughout his career, Dysart faced the ongoing struggle of being typecast as stern, corrupt authority figures or icy executives, which often made it difficult for him to land more sympathetic roles. While he eventually broke the mold by finding beloved success as the paternal Leland Mackenzie on L.A. Law, the cancellation of that series in 1994 after an 8-season run left a professional sting, and he subsequently faced the inevitable difficulty of finding substantial, complex work as an aging character actor in Hollywood. Richard Dysart continued to work occasionally in film and television throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, taking on roles in projects like Hard Rain and providing voice work for the animated series Spawn, before largely retiring to a quiet life. In his personal life, after 2 earlier marriages ended in divorce, he found lasting happiness with his third wife, artist Catherine Jacoby, whom he married in 1987. As of 2026, he is remembered as a titan of character acting, having passed away over a decade prior. Dysart died at his home in Santa Monica, California on April 5, 2015 at the age of 86, following a long battle with cancer. His passing marked the loss of a distinguished screen presence, and his death prompted an outpouring of tributes from his former co-stars and the Hollywood community, who mourned a deeply respected veteran whose impressive body of work left an indelible mark on the industry. Carrie Snodgress as Sarah Wheeler. Born on October 27, 1945 in Barrington, Illinois, the talented actress first captured Hollywood's attention before taking on the role of the steadfast prospector's widow in the acclaimed Western Pale Rider. At the age of 39, Snodgress's portrayal of Sarah Wheeler added a crucial layer of maternal resilience and emotional weight to Clint Eastwood's harsh, male-dominated frontier. Her nuanced performance as a woman torn between practical survival and spiritual hope helped make the movie a massive cultural success, establishing it as the highest-grossing Western of the 1980s and reinvigorating a cinematic genre that many had considered a thing of the past. Despite playing the dependent and vulnerable Sarah, who often needed rescuing by the enigmatic preacher Carrie, Snodgress was fiercely independent, resilient, and unapologetically unconventional in real life. This contrast defined much of her personal journey. She possessed the immense fortitude to walk away from Hollywood stardom at the absolute peak of her early career shortly after an Oscar nomination for Diary of a Mad Housewife, to live with musician Neil Young and care for their son who was born with cerebral palsy. When she eventually returned to the acting world, she faced the harsh professional reality of a business that had moved on without her. She struggled to regain her A-list momentum and was frequently typecast in supporting roles as battered, long-suffering, or emotionally fragile women. Her journey was further marred by severe off-screen hardships, most notably a terrifying incident in 1979, where an ex-boyfriend composer Jack Nietzsche broke into her home, beat her with a handgun, and threatened her life, making her real-world struggles as daunting as the hardships her characters faced. Carrie Snodgress continued to work in theater, television, and film for decades, remaining a deeply respected figure among her peers for her raw talent and personal sacrifices. She took on character roles in films such as Murphy's Law, 1986 Blue Sky, 1994, and the neo-noir thriller Wild Things, 1998, while also appearing in hit television series like The X-Files and ER. Her final on-screen appearance was in the acclaimed HBO film Iron-Jawed Angels in 2004. Snodgress passed away at the University of California Medical Center in Los Angeles on April 1, 2004, at the age of 58 from heart and liver failure while she was hospitalized awaiting a liver transplant. Her son Zeke, to whom she had devoted so much of her life, was by her side at the time of her death, and she was quietly laid to rest following a private family funeral. John Russell as Marshal Stockburn. Born on January 3, 1921 in Los Angeles, California, the veteran actor brought a chilling presence to the screen in Clint Eastwood's 1985 hit film Pale Rider. At the age of 64, Russell's portrayal of Marshal Stockburn, the ruthless and corrupt chief villain, became a standout performance in one of the decade's most successful westerns. His towering, menacing depiction of the badge-wearing enforcer offered a perfect, cold-blooded foil to Eastwood's mysterious preacher, leaving an indelible mark on the genre and cementing Stockburn as one of the most memorable cinematic antagonists of the 1980s. Despite his frequent portrayals of cold, intimidating villains and hardened gunmen, John Russell's real-life persona stood in stark contrast to the corrupt killers he played on screen. A World War II Marine Corps veteran who contracted malaria while serving at Guadalcanal, Russell was known off-screen as a deeply grounded, disciplined, and devoted family man. Professionally, however, he faced immense struggles with typecasting. After achieving prime-time fame in the late 1950s and early 1960s with his hit series Lawman, Russell found himself heavily tethered to the Western genre. When the popularity of Westerns sharply declined in the 1970s, he experienced significant difficulty finding substantial work. His earlier starring vehicle, Soldiers of Fortune, had also suffered a cancellation after failing to draw adult audiences, and during his later career slump, he was forced to take on obscure secondary parts, including replacing an actor to play a blue-skinned alien on the children's sci-fi show Jason of Star Command, until his longtime friend Clint Eastwood revitalized his image by casting him as Stockburn. John Russell continued to act in a few minor roles following his resurgence in Pale Rider, making his final credited film appearance in the 1988 action thriller Under the Gun. By the late 1980s, his personal life had grown quieter as his declining health severely limited his physical activities and professional engagements. Russell passed away at a Los Angeles hospital on January 19, 1991, at the age of 70 from complications related to emphysema, including respiratory failure. His death marked the loss of a classic Hollywood Western icon and in recognition of his real-life bravery, he was honored with a full military funeral before being interred at the Los Angeles National Cemetery. Jeffrey Weissman as Teddy Conway. Born on October 2, 1958 in Santa Monica, California, the versatile actor had already begun building a solid foundation in film before landing a memorable part in a Clint Eastwood classic. At the age of 26, Weissman's portrayal of the earnest, naive tin pan miner Teddy Conway in the 1985 hit Pale Rider became a notable career milestone. His performance added a layer of vulnerability and heart to the acclaimed film, helping to ground the harsh realities of the California gold mining camp. The movie was a massive box office success and signaled Eastwood's triumphant return to the Western genre, with Weissman's character standing out as a sympathetic and memorable figure amidst the rugged, violent landscape. Despite playing a simple-minded and innocent half-wit on screen, Jeffrey Weissman was in reality a highly trained, deeply analytical artist and a master of commedia dell'arte, with a sharp intellectual approach to his craft. This stark contrast between his real-life sophistication and his on-screen persona showcased his impressive acting range, but his career was soon overshadowed by immense professional hardships. He faced his most significant struggle after stepping in to replace Crispin Glover as George McFly in the Back to the Future sequels. Forced to wear heavy prosthetics to mimic Glover's likeness, Weissman found himself caught in the middle of a massive lawsuit when Glover successfully sued the producers for unauthorized use of his image. Following the legal fallout and his own testimony, Weissman alleged that Universal Studios blacklisted him, causing him severe emotional distress and a nervous breakdown. For a long period, he struggled with a sudden drought of major studio work and endured harsh backlash from devoted fans of the franchise, turning what should have been a career-defining opportunity into a profound professional obstacle. Jeffrey Weissman persevered through the industry politics, finding fulfillment outside the major studio system by continuously acting, directing, and teaching. He married his junior high school sweetheart Kimball Jackson in 2004, and the couple raised two sons, Spencer and Nicholas. He evolved into a respected acting coach, teaching theater games, film technique, and improvisation in the San Francisco Bay Area, while consistently appearing in independent films, television guest spots, and stage productions. At 67, he remains an active and beloved figure in the entertainment community, regularly interacting with fans at sci-fi and pop culture conventions, and demonstrating a lifelong dedication to the craft of acting that survived the unpredictable trials of Hollywood. Doug McGrath as Spider Conway. Born on April 13, 1935 in Vancouver, British Columbia, the versatile Canadian character actor first made his mark in the acclaimed film Goin' Down the Road before joining Clint Eastwood's Western classic Pale Rider, 1985. At the age of 50, McGrath's portrayal of Spider Conway, the spirited prospector whose joyous discovery of a massive gold nugget leads to a defiant but fatal confrontation with a ruthless mining baron, became a memorable highlight of the film. Spider's tragic arc served as a cultural touchstone for the classic Western trope of the hopeful pioneer crushed by corporate greed, and McGrath's energetic performance perfectly established the emotional catalyst for the movie's iconic climax. Despite the character's boisterous, defiant, and reckless nature, Doug McGrath was known off-screen as a remarkably grounded, soft-spoken, and highly disciplined professional. This contrast was a testament to his versatility as a character actor, as he often had to dig deep to project Spider's drunken, fatal bravado. Throughout his career, McGrath faced the inherent struggles of the entertainment industry, dealing with the professional hardship of being typecast as goofy coaches, rustic sidekicks, or quirky lawmen, following his mainstream success in hits like Porky's and Eastwood's films. Like many working actors dividing their time between the Canadian film industry and Hollywood, he frequently navigated the challenge of finding consistent, substantive work, often having to hustle for roles that looked beyond his established supporting archetypes. Doug McGrath continued to work steadily in both television and film for decades, appearing in notable projects like Ghosts of Mars and hit Canadian series such as Murdoch Mysteries, proving his enduring talent. Though he eventually stepped back from the relentless grind of on-camera acting, he remained a respected and beloved figure within the Canadian entertainment community. At 90, he is enjoying a quiet and private retirement, far removed from the rugged gold camps of his famous Western role. His impressive legacy as one of North America's most recognizable and enduring character actors continues to be celebrated by fans of classic cinema. Richard Hamilton as Jed Blankenship. Born on December 31, 1920, the Chicago, Illinois native first brought the rugged prospector to life in Clint Eastwood's acclaimed 1985 Western film, Pale Rider. At the age of 64, Hamilton's portrayal of Jed Blankenship, also known as Pa Blankenship, resonated as a grounded representation of the hard-working independent miners holding out against corrupt corporate greed. As a vital part of the struggling community that rallies behind the mysterious preacher, his character helped establish the gritty, realistic backdrop of the film. The movie became a massive box office success and is widely regarded as one of the definitive westerns of the 1980s, leaving a lasting cultural impact by breathing new life into the genre. Despite playing a desperate dirt-covered mountain man roughing it in the Old West, Richard Hamilton's real life was steeped in high society theater and refined artistic pursuits. Educated at the Pasadena Playhouse, he was a classically trained stage actor, a veteran of Golden Age radio drama, and an active member of New York's prestigious Players Club, standing in stark contrast to the unpolished figures he often portrayed. Professionally, Hamilton faced the ongoing struggles of a working character actor. His distinct weathered appearance frequently led to typecasting. For decades, he found himself repeatedly relegated to minor supporting roles as judges, doctors, and aging vagrants, making it a persistent challenge to break out into more substantial or leading parts, despite his extensive theatrical pedigree and undeniable talent. Richard Hamilton continued to work steadily in television and film throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, all while maintaining a quiet personal life with his wife Marilyn Morgan Hamilton and their 2 children. He delivered memorable performances in major films, notably playing Agent D. Tommy Lee Jones's retiring partner in the 1997 sci-fi blockbuster Men in Black, and appearing in movies like Summersby, On Deadly Ground, and his final film, the 2002 comedy Death to Smoochie. Hamilton passed away at his home in the Catskill Mountains of New York on December 21, 2004, at the age of 83 from natural causes. His quiet passing, which came just days before his 84th birthday, marked the end of a prolific 6-decade career in entertainment, leaving behind a legacy as a reliable and deeply respected character actor. We often look at then and now photos and notice only the passing of time, but for the stars of Pale Rider, every line and wrinkle reflects a story shaped by fame, resilience, and unforgettable moments on screen. They embody a golden era of grit, justice, and timeless storytelling that continues to inspire audiences around the world today. If revisiting these legends brought a smile to your face or stirred a bit of nostalgia, don't stop here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the classics you love. Your support keeps these incredible stories alive,